In your 40s, 50s, 60s, and beyond, you deserve to live your best life. Say goodbye to preconceived notions and let's shatter those stereotypes together. Get ready to own your vitality because age, well, that's just a number.
Hey everybody, it's BJ and thank you for joining me today on Age is Just a Number. And I have a special guest with me today. This is Elysia Allen. Elysia, thank you for coming on the channel with us today.
Thank you so much for inviting me. I'm excited to be here.
Yeah, you're welcome. So, hey, we're going to talk to Elysia about her kind of health and fitness journey from, starting out and what you did a little bit, but also just where we're at right now. Because I think, for a lot of us a lot of you that are watching, you face a lot of the same issues, right? Where now we're in our 40s, we have a family, we have work responsibilities. How do we make this all work out?
Yes.
And we're going to get to this, where are you going for the fight?
Las Vegas.
So Elysia has actually just started training for a boxing match in Las Vegas.
Yes.
So we're going to talk about that as well. So again, thank you for joining us today. If you haven't, please take a minute, subscribe to the channel, and like the video. That just helps us out. And we are putting out piles of content and lots of different content. So you want to make sure you don't miss anything. And that'll make sure that happens. So, okay, let's start with your background growing up, as you did a lot of kind of sports and baseball and different things like that.
Yes.
And then you were in the military. That's how you got here, is that right?
That's how I relocated to the island, yes.
So now you just told me you're a veteran now. You're considered a veteran.
Officially, yes, as of September 30th.
Okay. And how long were you in the military?
About 15 years altogether.
Okay. And as an experience, what is that like for you?
Oh my gosh, so many stories. I know we lived through our stories, but all of the men and women that I worked with, that I trained with, from basic training, because I was, older. I wasn't a 17-year-old, going through basic, and I was about 27, actually, and the mom of the platoon. And it was just incredible, the adventures that I went on when I was deployed with the frigates and, in op reassurance and circumnavigating the world. And it was, helping orphan children in Italy and just trying to make an impact no matter where we sailed.
Right.
was fabulous. So a lot of long hours, had to be fit, to operate on the ship and be ready for anything that they could throw at you. So.
Sure. Okay. Now, you did, just maybe give us the rundown of the sports you did, whether at a collegiate level or as you were, growing up. Just go ahead, you tell me.
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, it all started with my dad as a baby throwing me the balloon to encourage hand-eye and soft hands, which really helped my development. And I was just so fortunate to have supportive parents that, any athletic pursuit I wanted to go for, they would support, So raised in a baseball household, so started with t-ball at the age of 5. Also played soccer, and these were before female leagues were formed. So I was playing with the boys, and we were having a blast. And as that progressed up through the years, and played a lot of high school soccer, and going to the provincials with Burnaby South, and playing with incredible female athletes. Did rugby, in baseball. I did eventually get into rep ball as what we call an Okie 83, which was a very, very good program in baseball. And then, lots of martial arts alongside. So Taekwondo for many years, and Simon Posner at the time called Pankration, or All Powers. And there was a little ninjutsu in there too.
Okay.
So, I like to dabble in all kinds.
Right. And then somewhere in there came hockey when you were were you in university then?
I was 19, so consider it a fossil in Canadiana years. I wasn't born with skates on, but played with the men because we didn't have women's divisions really.
Okay.
And I mean, I'm 19. I know I'm aging myself now, but it was incredible, the experiences I had and the people that I got to meet that allowed me to develop and progress and challenge myself and to better my skills. So
Right. So now we jump ahead. You've come out of the military. Now there's work, there's life, there's family, there's all these things. And I think for a lot of people, what tends to happen is we put ourselves last, right?
100%. You forget about yourself.
And I'm assuming that you kind of went through that process.
It was actually, this year was probably the lowest of the low for me.
Okay.
Just with regards to looking after myself, nutrition, less booze out there, and just to be frank, and I wasn't very active because I was kind of on that hamster wheel of, 24/7 work. And
you have a young daughter.
I do. She's 10.
Right. So there's all the commute time, right?
That's right. Taking her to school, and then her sports as well,
right.
and musical theater and things like
Sure.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know. I can appreciate that, and appreciate that for all of you that are watching that are parents. I'm a single dad, so I'm. Last Saturday's a great example. There's a birthday party in the morning, and then I pick her up from the birthday party to take my daughter to her friends because they're doing some pumpkin carving thing, and then so you have to kind of fit all that in. So I get where you're coming from on that. So, so what was it this year that you said, okay, we go no further?
We go no further. That's right. The epiphany came actually, I'd say probably a month and a half ago, to be honest.
Okay.
When family kind of spoke to me and just said, "Hey, we're a little worried about you. You're not your normal self." And I thought, wow. And I started to kind of look introspectively of like, I'm not doing my running. I'm not getting my marathons. I'm not playing my sports. I'm just going through this hamster wheel of a day, and putting work above family, and not making a game or something family related, because it was always work that was coming in into the scheme. So about a month and a half ago, I thought, nope, let's break this cycle, actually sign up for my sports. So reached out to my hockey gals, joined a new soccer team, the over 30 Wanda Fuca Wandas, which are a great group of gals. I'm an old keeper, so I was dusting off the gloves and getting in there, and it was just starting to go for those practices, having the camaraderie of the girls. My daughter plays hockey now, so now she comes out to watch my games, and I put it in the calendar. All of these games, all of family events, even a date night. And that has made a nice shift to know that my family feels that they're present with me and that I am a part of the collective with these teams. And boxing just started probably about 2 weeks ago, and I think things happen for a reason. Changing a lot of lifestyle, eating better, trying to get better sleep, all of these better habits again. And this fella reached out, and he's like, "Oh, I've seen some of your fights. We're having this Masters competition in Vegas in February. Are you interested?" And I thought, because for me, also having a goal as I was shifting this mindset to have something to work towards for that motivation and results is huge. And then as I was like, well, let me check in with my coach. Walked into a hockey game on a Sunday. Who comes out? My boxing coach. And I'm like, whoa, the stars are aligning, So then I met up with her, and then I started training at the gym, and I said, look, Ellen, this competition's February. I'm kind of where I am. Do you think we can do it? And she's like, absolutely, but commit. And I think that's been such a great mindset change, is commit and have a plan going forward.
That's so good. And one thing too, I'm gonna at some point go to the gym with Elysia, and hopefully she doesn't hurt me and beat me up, but we're gonna go and we're gonna do some sparring and have some fun at the gym. I've never boxed, but I did do martial arts at one time. So
we'll break them in gently.
But I think a couple of things, or my first thing in terms of a takeaway is, how easy was it for it to get away from you, where you think like it's only been a week or it's only been a month, but before you know it, it's a year or 2 years or 3 years, right?
Absolutely. And I don't even think I realized how far gone I was out of that healthy lifestyle that I'm so used to, because I always function so well when I've got my physical outlets.
Right.
You're not lethargic in mindset or, well, I'll just, I've got 5 minutes, I'll just watch something on TV, or, just very lazy, if you ever have 5 minutes, I know. But yeah, I'd say after my last boxing competition, it just kind of, yeah, it's been about a year.
Okay.
I'd say a year for sure of not doing much.
Yeah, and I think that's the thing for all of us to keep in mind too, is wherever you are at, start somewhere. We talk about this on the channel all the time about just start the process and start somewhere. When you recognize something's not right, do something about fixing it. And you don't have to do everything.
No.
Right?
No.
But do something, start somewhere so that you can start to turn that process around. So now we're on the other side of that coin. You're in the process, you've made some decisions. What are out of this whole process, let's say from the figuring out, wow, what's going on here to where you're at now, can you give me 3 takeaways that anybody watching could say, hey, that relates, I'm going to use those things or apply those things? Can you give me 3 takeaways that you take from that?
Well, I think one takeaway is having support. Having, whether it's a friend or family member that says, maybe we need to talk about what's going on. And to have that support and have somebody to talk to or brain trust or, I think that was a big thing for me, is that I was like, wow, could I potentially be going down a road where I might lose my family, right? Because I'm just not where I should be. And I'm like, that's absolutely terrifying to me.
Sure.
Because family is a priority. It's
Sure.
something I care very deeply about. And I thought, whoa, there's a bit of an intervention here.
Right.
So I think one takeaway is having family, friends support or colleagues or somebody to be like, hey, and then having that support of them watching you go through the goals that you're trying to attain.
Right.
Which is huge.
Yeah.
I guess.
And let me just interject one thing. I think especially coming out of COVID, we became so disconnected through COVID that I think there's still an issue with people trying to reconnect with other human beings, right?
Yes, because I'm a hugger. And you get all those endorphins when you hang on to somebody.
Right.
And, I think we're like herd animals. People, even introverts, were too introverted in COVID.
Yeah.
And when somebody says, I miss people, but I'm not used to people, that is saying something. So
Yeah.
mental wellness is a big thing.
It's huge, right? So, we're not, I've said this before, we are not created to do life on our own.
No.
And I think that's a real important thing, because if you don't have somebody that can say, hey, let's talk about what's going on.
Yeah.
That means there's a relationship there. That means there's some kind of connection, because some random stranger that comes in and says, hey, you're out of shape.
Right.
You're going to punch him in the nose. Or
Pretty much.
something like that, right?
It's not diplomatic.
Yeah, right? So that's number 1.
That's number 1. I guess number 2, being organized.
Okay.
And again, putting yourself first, because if you're not looking after yourself, how can you look after your clients, your business, your family, your teammates, everything else? So putting into practice like action items of, there's our schedules, there's our events, there's our, rehearsals and all of these things, and actually sticking to it.
Right.
We're so busy in real estate that, it's an appointment, and treating these events like appointments have been very rewarding and have created, or I think it's opened up more creative space in my brain to be more successful in business, because I'm having those outlets again.
Right.
I'm getting back into shape. I'm running. I've got my blood flowing. I'm like, let's go.
Yeah.
Right? So.
Yeah. And it's interesting. They always tell you, I think about this whenever you get on a plane, they say if you're flying with somebody that requires assistance, put your mask on first.
Right.
If the mask falls down, put your mask on first. In other words, take care of yourself first.
Yes.
So you can take care of your family.
Yes.
You can take care of your business, your clients, or whatever the case might be, right?
That's right.
So,
Absolutely. And I think the third takeaway again is having such a terrible year of nutritional habits as well. You know, I don't usually go by weight, how I feel. I know in boxing weight sometimes plays a role, but I mean, I had to sit down and put my socks on. And I'm like, no. I might be 41, but I shouldn't be sitting to put my socks on.
Right.
So eating well, making my lunches, which you've always inspired me to do. I love your meals. But taking the time to prepare the meals.
Right.
And when you eat better, because now that I'm doing all of these activities, I'm kind of going 0 to 60 here.
Yeah.
Right. So that's a toll on the body, but fueling the body appropriately, hydrating.
Yeah.
You know, things that seem so basic and simple, but they
Yeah.
are truly the foundations. There's no pill for weight loss. There's no magic, you know. You have to put in the time. Rome's not built in a day, but you have to start.
Right.
And you're right, you can't look back in hindsight and say, and then wallow in self-pity and all
Right.
that, because then it doesn't move forward on the treadmill.
Sure. Yeah.
So you start from that day, move forward, and brace yourself. And the ride is great. Like I saw my acupuncturist this morning. That was a good tune-up, you know. So you have this team all around you, but again, you are treating your body as a temple to be able to do everything else that you want to do.
Yeah, 100%. Because if you don't feel good, you're not going to have a good mindset. You're not going to be nice to people. You're not going to be nice to your family. Because really, that's where first and foremost it rubs off, right?
Absolutely.
So, we react and we put on maybe something for the people around us, but it's our families that get the unfiltered version, right?
Yes,
So,
very much so.
So like I said, we're going to be on with Elysia again, and I'm going to be with her at the gym at some point and things like that. But, if this resonates with you, put something in the comments about your health and fitness journey. Maybe you're in the same situation that you had to come to the point of saying, wait a minute, this is not good and we need to make a difference. Maybe you need to make that decision. If that's you, make that decision. But otherwise, share with us what's going on for you and your health and fitness journey. And so thanks for coming on today.
Well, I appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
Yeah,
And
you're welcome.
I just think just have that open mind and nothing is taboo,
There we go.
right?
All right. So thank you for joining us today. If you haven't, please take a minute, subscribe to the channel, give us a like on the video, and we'll see you next time.
Awesome. Take care, guys.
See ya.